Well, welcome everybody and Happy New Year. Happy 2023 New Year. I am Kim Evans. I am the proud owner and the host of Inspired Conversations podcast show and Two Gorgeous Wellness and KME Coaching. Welcome to 2023 New Year to Inspired Conversations. Let's get started. I'm so excited actually to create this short podcast series. I am creating a short podcast series, and actually, it is called Momentum. And I wanted to create this podcast series, new podcast series 2023 for the Renaissance businesswoman who wants more time, beauty, health, and wealth. So, welcome to 2023 podcast series. So you all, if you have not caught the first one actually was called Queen Conscious Higher Level Thinking. I would recommend for all of you to go back and to listen and view that podcast. So if you would like to get the whole 7 podcasts, there is a link below that you can subscribe and you can have all the 7 podcasts actually to your fingertip, that you don't have to go back onto my memorabilia to get it, that you can just have it in one shot. But here nor there, I will leave the link below. So today on this particular podcast series, and I'm your lovely host, and I'm also the guest, we're going to be talking about a queen never breaks her character in public, even on flight cancellations. We're going to get right to it. And then I am going to leave you with a blessing at the end. So for those of you who have known that there has been a disarray with the airlines, and I actually experienced that disarray a couple of weeks ago during my holiday travel. In fact, I was inspired to create this podcast, and I said, you know what? When you are thrown lemons, you make lemonade. And I said, I think I need to probably do a podcast and share with people on when you are in the midst of crises, such as flight cancellations. A queen never breaks her character. So let's get right to it. So first, let me tell you my story. I'm going to give you 2 stories. The first story is, during the holiday season, we're out and we're shopping and doing what we do best and, finding those fantastic gifts for others and ourselves. I happened to be at one of the number one retailers. It was, Macy's. So I happened to go in there, had to exchange and return something. I'm going to give you my first scenario. I'm going to give you my second one. So I walk in there and I'm standing in line, and it's close. We're getting really close to Christmas. I needed to take this jacket back that had become damaged. And so I'm standing in line. It's a long line. And Lord and behold, this woman just abruptly just comes in front of me. Like I wasn't even standing there. So I'm like, really? We're really going to do this today? You really going to do this today? She cuts in front of me, goes up to the front of the line with an entitlement spirit. I said, really? You really gonna do this? So I had to step back and I had to hold my composure. So I says, okay. Let's see how this dealt. Let's see how this hand is gonna, I was been given this hand. Let's see how this hand is really gonna be dealt and how it's gonna be played out. So I'm standing there, and then another lady comes up into me, and she sees this dynamic exchange of energy happening. And she comes up to me and she says, how may I help you? I says, well, I have this coat here that I need to exchange because it's become damaged. She says, well, let me take you over here and let's handle it. I'm like, okay. You, number one, be prepared, and you never know who you're dealing with, because I'm a king's kid. So a king's kid is highly favored. So watch out how you treat people, because we are king kids that are actually walking the dominion and into this earth. And there's repercussions when you deal with king's kids. So anyway, so I go over to that's a segue for faith believers. Duly noted. So I walk over and the lady says, how can I help you? And I started talking with her and tell her about my situation. I'm getting to the story. She says, Kim, this is Carrie. She says, too gorgeous? I'm like, yes. And she says, oh my God, I haven't seen you in years. So let me fast forward, y'all. It was one of my clients that I had serviced like a decade ago, like 10 years ago when I was in Orinda. And her name's Carrie. She says, Kim, how can I help you, girl? What's going on? And so I was telling her I had this jacket. And I says, well, I need to talk with a manager because my issue was going to require a higher level of authority. And I really don't want to explain it 10 times. Queen key number one. We know how to go to higher level of authority, especially when you can actually discern what your issue or your problem is. And if your issue is requiring an executive decision, then you don't want to waste your time explaining your story like 5 and 10 times. You want to go directly to the top down, not bottom up. So I was telling Carrie, I said, well, listen, I said, this is a situation. I know I'm going to need a higher level manager to make an executive decision on this and to exchange this byproduct. She says, okay, no problem. Let me call the store manager. I said, that's exactly what I wanted you to do anyway, was to call the store manager. So I was just standing in line so the attendant can call the store manager. Long story short, she calls the store manager comes over, and I began to tell her my issue. I had this coat. I ended up putting it in the dryer. I followed the instructions. It had fox fur on the outside because, we queens, we like to do things that's sexy and exciting and very beautiful. So I had a coat that had fox fur on the wrist, had fox fur on the collars because that's, we got the J-Lo effect going on. And for some reason, I followed the instructions and put it in the dryer, low heat, and it ended up exploding. And when I took it out, it looked like rat fur. And so I was sharing with the Macy's store manager. I said, look at this coat. This is a Michael Kors. And it's like, I know Michael Kors is going to stand by their product. And it's like, what's up? I followed the instructions. And this looked like fox fur. And I said, this is really not a sexy look, especially if I'm going on a date. And so the manager just cracked the hell up. She just cracked up. She says, I understand. I wouldn't want to wear that either. So, we just got a good laugh. Carrie got a good laugh. I got a good laugh. The store manager got a good laugh. She says, girl, I got you. I said, come on, let's go on over here. Unfortunately, they didn't have any more of the burgundy coats of the Michael Kors that I bought, but let's go over here to Mr. Calvin, because sometimes, we're going to upgrade. So, Michael Kors, the doors was closed for Michael Kors, but let's go over to Calvin. Let's go over to Calvin's house, because Calvin might have something from me. She says, well, do you really want to have the fox fur? I says, no, not really, but I just really want the color burgundy because it really does matches my skin tone, and I really like that. She says, okay, well, we're going to walk over to the Calvin house. We walked over to the Calvin house and found the jacket, which was just form-fitting. It was beautiful. It looked nice, kept me warm. Everything that I needed had the hood on it, the exact same coat that I had purchased, but it just didn't have the fox fur. I said, at this point, honey, I do not need the fox fur. As long as it can keep me warm, I'm good, and have the color and it can match my skin tone. We are all good in the hood. So she's like, no problem. She takes me over to her register. Boom, boom, boom. She does an exchange. As a matter of fact, you know what? No problem, Miss Evans. You even got a $10 credit on your Macy's account. I said, that is so lovely. So Carrie says, look, I got to go over and handle another customer. It was a pleasure seeing you. I said, oh my God, girl, you got to come see me over at Too Gorgeous. I got my new location over in Lafayette. I'd love come on over so that you can enjoy a facial. She says, definitely I will. So that's how we handled that. And then the manager, this was a store manager of Macy's, and it was so amazing. She's like, girl, I got you. She says, I understand. I says, she says, I wouldn't want to be on a date that with your coat looking like the way that it looked anyway. I says, I know, right? Because that's not sexy. I'm coming to a date, and I have my coat on, it look like rat fur. We can't look like rat fur. I says, those instructions are very serious, especially when you're washing your own coat. I mean, I took it to the cleaners, but it said that you can wash it yourself, and I followed the instructions, put it on low heat and everything. And this is the way that it came out. I was like, no, I'm cool. I don't need no more fox fur. I'm good. We don't need that. Been there and done that. I walked out with a credit. I was able to get what I needed. The color is fantastic. It's form-fitting. I was so pleased. Macy's, I love you. I'm always going to be a customer. Macy's, Macy, I got you. And so what I learned with that is keep your composure. So let's review what happened. We had this energy of this unknown host to me come and cut me in line because they had this entitlement spirit to walk in front of me. Now, I could have just withdrew and just went into a different avatar of a woman and went totally off, but I chose not to do that. So the moral of the story is you never know who's watching you. You never know who's watching you. So in public, my queens, my Renaissance lady bosses, you must always uphold your composure, because especially those that are in business, you never know if a client is lurking around. And when you least expect it, there's somebody that grocery, getting your oil change, at the dealership, in the grocery store, at a networking event, in a department store, while you having Starbucks and Peace Coffee. I always run into somebody that I know. And what would have happened if I would have acted a fool? You know what I'm saying? Because of this unknown host. So keep your composure. We are a child of the King, the Most High God. I am a king's kid. So no matter what, no matter where I am, no matter where you are, you a king's kid. If your faith of us, you a king's kid. So you always have to keep your composure. This leads to my second example, and then we're going to get out because I got 15 minutes. So now I'm treating my mom. It's Las Vegas. We go to Las Vegas. We have a great time. We get the JW Marriott. Woo! Kudos out to the JW Marriott on Rampart in Las Vegas. I love y'all. This is my second experience. We will be back. You treated me and my mother so well. We love you. Lisa, we love you. The accountant manager at the front desk, we love you. So long story short, we there for 3 days. I wanted to bless my mother, with the trip in Las Vegas. She loved it. She's a recluse. She never come out the house. So I said, well, let me bless my mom. Plus, she likes a slot here and there. She likes good food. She likes entertainment. So we had a good time. Long story short, leave on a Friday. Well, we leave on Christmas Eve to come back the day after Christmas. And we're excited. We leave out of Oakland to come going to Las Vegas, to come back to Las Vegas, back to Oakland. Buffoonery happened. Are you serious? We get this, I don't even get a message. It's like we're about to leave on a Monday, and all of a sudden I'm about to check out my hotel, and something said, Kim, check your flight. I didn't get a text. Normally I would get a text from an airline, a particular one. I happen to be going on airline. I happen to be going on Southwest, and I can say that because I experienced that. And I said, wait a second, something ain't feeling right. So but while we're packing and getting ready to get out the elevator, I'm about to check out, and I'm checking in, and it says, wait a minute, hold up. Your flight has been canceled. A flight has been canceled. And so I called the flight airlines and says, whoa. I don't have a text. I don't have an email. And I'm looking into my account. I'm about to check out. We need to come over, getting ready to the airport. Why am I seeing that my flight has been canceled? Ma'am, your flight has been canceled. Excuse me? Your flight, for what? What's going on? Why my flight canceled? So my flight was canceled. Long story short, I had to immediately go down to the hotel, to the front desk, and say, look, we was about to check out. Please don't give our room away. Unbeknownst to us, Southwest actually has just, for whatever reason, canceled our flight. Now, I could have acted a fool down at the front desk, but I chose not to. And I said, I'm asking forgiveness. I says, we really need to stay in our room one more night, and I might need to leave it, and I might need to have an option for Wednesday because I don't know what's going on. The manager says, don't worry, Miss Evans, go on back upstairs. You guys have a good time. Long story short, I'm checking the airlines, and they're like, I don't think we're going to be able to get you out on Tuesday. I says, excuse me, I run a business. I need to get back to my, ma'am, I don't think we can get you out until Wednesday. Wow. Weather. I don't believe that. I just don't believe that to be so. So I'm on the phone. My mother goes and do what she needs to do. I said, Mom, go have some fun. She's at the slots again. She's not knowing what's going on in the background. I'm in the room trying to secure us a date to get the hell out of Las Vegas, back to the Bay. So long story short, the guy says, ma'am, it's going to be Wednesday. I said, no. Mm-mm. So again, I could have chose to not be in my queen and go totally off, scream at the attendant. But you know what? At the midst of that, when you're throwing lemons, what is that going to do? When you're at the midst of throwing lemons, you need to make lemonade. You need to make a friend. So I said, let me lower my voice, let me lower my composure, and let me bring my tone back in alignment. So I did that. And I says, well, excuse me, sir. I said, I do run a business. I do need to get back. Is there any way? Come on. I know that we can think of a way that you can get us 2 tickets back to the Bay Area. He says, hold on, let me tell you what I'm going to do. Long story short, he went, did his magic, and he came back because, see, he could have disconnected. When you go high, you need to go low. Actually, when someone is going high, you need to go low. When you go high, you really need to go low. When things get high, you really need to go low. You need to take your low voice, not the high voice, because that's not I mean, that's condescending. That's really not going to get you what you need. So why am I screaming? Why am I hollering? Why am I going off? Because again, the attendant could have just clicked. They got 1,000 calls that they got to deal with this the kaleidoscope of gymnastics that's going on with the flight cancellations. And I'm like, I don't even watch the news. Look, we're on vacation. I'm not trying to check out what's going on. So he says, okay, I'll tell you what we're going to do. I found something. However, we can't get you back to Oakland. But if you're willing and to be open to go to San Francisco, we can get you back in San Francisco. However, it's going to be at the last flight. I had to quickly make a decision. See, a queen sometimes, in order to protect her kingdom, she got to think real fast. Now, I could have said no, and we're going to find something else. And then you got 1,000 attendants that's on the line that's trying to book people out of Vegas to get back to where they're going. And somebody would have took it. I said, I'll take it. I'll take it. We'll figure it out. I said, I'll take it. He says, okay, you're going to fly into San Francisco, figure out how you're going to get from San Francisco back to the Bay over to Oakland. That's a no-brainer. We could do that. I says, fine, we're gonna take the last flight. But listen, the story gets real good. So then I says, okay, well, what can you guarantee if it's the last flight? I would prefer really to have the first flight. Because if that first flights get canceled, at least we're gonna be at the airport and there's another flight that's gonna come. And then there's a third flight, and then there's a fourth flight, and then there's a fifth flight. But if you just book me on the last flight, what's the guarantee? Because after that, it ain't no more flights. And I have done my time standing and spending the night in the airport. Thank you very kindly. He said, ma'am, I can guarantee you almost 99% that your flight is not going to be canceled. I said, well, let's talk about some good faith to me. Big bait, let's do it. So we booked it. And I'm just like, how can you guarantee and be so sure? And the way his tone and his composure, he was just like, I can guarantee you that flight ain't gonna cancel. I'm like, okay, well, I'm gonna roll with your faith. Sometimes when God sends a ram in the thicket somewhere, you just have to just go with the flow and not question, queens. That's called leadership, leading, being led. So anywho, I said, before we got the phone, sir, can you tell me how are you so assured that this flight is not gonna cancel? He said, ma'am, because it's coming from Indianapolis. I says, okay, duly noted. So I'm learning that flights come from different regions of the world, the East and West Coast, and depending upon where they come from, then they know exactly if it's going to be a flight that's not going to cancel, or if it's going to be more than not going to be impacted by weather. So obviously, he saw something that I did not see. So I just had to go with the flow and go with the faith. Long story short, ended it. We on it. We back. Hey, I got it. We getting out the next day. My mom comes up. I said, hey, I go down to the front desk. I say, I'm not going to need till Wednesday. I says, only need one more day. So the front desk manager said, hey, I'm going to give you an additional credit. See, this is what happens when you hold your composure. When you hold your composure, favor and grace follows you wherever you are. The manager didn't need you. I'm gonna put another $50 credit on your tab. I want you and your mom to go have dinner. I said, Mom, we're going to the Hawthorne Grill. We love you, Hawthorne Grill, and we gonna be back. We go to the Hawthorne Grill. We have the best dinner at the end. We get our crab. No, we didn't get steak, but we get our crab because she loved crab. I love crab. And we got our cocktails, and we just had a good time. We had our vegetables, had our greens. And we just had a wonderful time. We had an additional credit. We ended up getting $100 credit, a food credit, and we just had an amazing time. But I have to say, from the time that we checked in to the time that we checked out, to the time that I went downstairs and I stated my case, I said, look, this is what's going on. and it's beyond our control. We need some help. We might need to extend, because see, there was a long line of people trying to get in. They could have easily gave away our room, right? But they didn't. But even before we went to dinner, let me inject this point. The lights go out at the casino hotel. I said, wait, hold up. So wait a minute. This is beautiful. So in addition, I'm trying to secure our flights to get out. I secured our flights to get out. I go downstairs. I talk to the attendant and say, look, we don't need till Wednesday. We're going to get out tomorrow. She gives us a credit. And then while I'm down there, boom, the lights go out. She said, the lights just went out. I said, stop it. So my mother is at the casino, the lights gone out, people in the dark. It's so funny. They're standing at their slot machines because they don't want to lose their money. I'm trying to, oh, it was just hellacious. It was so hilarious how that whole, but I kept my composure. And I'm doing a live video on Instagram while all of this is going on. So I'm close to the lobby. They on a different generator. The casino's on a different generator. The restaurants is on a different generator. And I'm like, where is Steven Spielberg? Boom, where's George Lucas? It gotta be a movie up in here. It gotta be a movie. And we just laughed. Mom came in. With the next few hours, the lights come back. When you throw lemons, you make lemonade. And we were able to really have a beautiful day. It was just hilarious. It was just hilarious. What you gonna do? Get mad? You ain't gonna get mad? You just have to stand above. I'm sitting up there and I'm doing 2 lives on Instagram. I'm like, look, I don't got nothing to do. Let me go ahead and do a live. How y'all doing today? I did 2 lives right there in the lobby while the lights was out, but they had their separate generators, so the lights were still on where I was, or where my mother was, the light was out. So anyway, funny. Long story short, the next day we get out, we catch the lift ride, we get to the airport, and we're there. All right. The story is about to come to close. See, but the story ain't over, because when you're at the airport and you're waiting, you need the pilot, the co-pilot, and the crew. We go in, we sit down, and we're checking in. Y'all, this story is so doggone good. I have learned so much. We sit down, we check my mom in, I'm checking myself in, I'm looking at the airport. I did a live, I showed how it looked. It's 10 o'clock at night. We're in Las Vegas, ready to get back to San Francisco International Airport. I go up to the attendant that says, okay, are we about to start loading within the next 15 minutes? She says, ma'am, if you don't see me come back up to this podium within 15 minutes, your flight has been canceled. And so I'm looking at the top time, cancel. I'm looking at our flight on time. I'm looking at the bottom flight, cancel. I'm looking at 7:41 the next day, cancel. I'm like, oh, no. I got to work. I got clients I got to see the next day. I said, this can't be happening. So even if your flight has been rescheduled, y'all, that can still be canceled. So I'm sitting here. I said, ma'am, what determines whether or not this flight is going to take off? Because I was guaranteed that we ain't having no more cancellation. Ma'am, it takes a crew. And if you don't have your crew, then they can't take off. Okay, well, I just experienced this about 3 months ago when I had came from Turks and Caicos, that we were actually American Airlines at that time. And I can say that because I experienced that canceled us at the last minute because of labor laws, and the crew couldn't fly over a certain time. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, I said it. And they still haven't taken care of that situation. And I'm still dealing with them with that. And what I have learned is that according to the FCC, that flights, they have to work within a certain amount of hours. And if they exceed those hours, they're just like, bye-bye, we're going to have to cancel the flight. I can understand that. You don't want a tired you don't want a pilot to be flying or co-pilot and they tired and they've exceeded their 12 hours or whatever it is. You want it to be safety for the passengers. I get it. I understand that. But the way that they did it was so abruptly, y'all. So anyway, I'm like, here we go again, and we're about to have this again. So the Southwest attendant come back and she tells me, she says, hey, we need 4, the crews are normally 4 crews, depending upon how big the plane is. She says, well, if those numbers or the minimum numbers don't come on board, then this plane ain't taking off. I'm like, oh my God. So my mom is sitting there. It's not that many people in the aisle. And I start praying. I said, see, this is when you need to use your holy faith of faith. This is when you need to get up. It's like, okay, all right, well, let me go into the aisles. I walk into the aisles, honey, and then I start praying. The east, the west, the north, and the south, calling in them crew members, because we getting on this plane. I don't know where y'all is, but y'all coming up in here, and we getting on this plane, and you gonna fly us back to San Francisco safely. And so there was one woman that she was on the wall, and I had to look at her again. I'm like, is she an attendant? She was attendant. She was waiting for the other attendant to come, and I'm in here praying. I'm in the aisles, and I'm praying. My mother's like, what is going on? And all of a sudden, I see this beautiful woman with her blonde locks. She started walking with her southwest thing. I'm like, she started coming in. It's like, oh my God, we got her. We got this one, and then another one comes in. They walk in like this. It's like, and then the attendants say, all right, y'all get on up. 10 more minutes, we're about to board this plane. I said, wait a minute, that's 3. I said, well, where's the 4th one? Because normally it's 4. And I says, okay, what's going on? What's going on? What's going on? You have to have faith, you have to believe. We get in, we go, family go first. My mom gets up, because she's challenged. So we going in there, and it's like, oh my God, you're talking about a ram in the thicket somewhere. The pilot and the co-pilot was already in the cockpit, and then there was a stewardess that was already in the middle. Oh my God, oh my God, oh my God. He was already on the aircraft. It was like God had a ram in a thicket somewhere. He was already on the aircraft. We had the other 3 people coming on the crew, and I'm watching this with my whole dynamic of my eyes. I'm like, okay, I'm seeing all this stuff in full life, how this thing work. They're in there. We're walking right after them. He's talking to us. He says, hi there, welcome to Southwest Airlines. I'm like, I can just kiss you. I can just hug you. I'm so happy. Can I hug you? Can I pray for you? I was just so excited, right? So we get on the plane. It's me and my mother. And we just excited, honey. We're just so excited. We got our mask on. We just excited to be on the plane. I don't care what we're going to say. Just tell us where to sit. We don't care. We just need to get home. And it was so amazing. And I learned so much from that. Long story short, it was a nice flight. It was an evening flight. It was the last flight, and it was great. I got off that plane. The co-pilot and the pilot was there, and it's like, God bless you. God bless you. God bless you. And then, the crew, it was just amazing. So I say all that to say, and I met my 26 minutes, is that even when you don't know what's going on when you throw lemons, make lemonades. So let me quickly just go over that. A queen never breaks character. I gave you 2 examples when I was in the department store. I gave you an example when I was at the hotel. I gave an example with the flight cancellation with Southwest Airlines. And they now are making a do. They're giving us credits back. They gave us credits back from our flight. I still need to deal with one more issue with them, but you know what? They're making good. And yes, I will continue to use Southwest because things happen. But let me just leave you this real quickly. The benevolent queen archetype. The benevolent queen archetype is rising. The queen is mature, and she always is looking for a connection. What can I do between A and B to make this connection? This is what the queen archetype does. She's very mature, and she actually takes on the role of leadership. So when you're at high and things are going off kiltered, off chaos, what good is it if you are bent and you're in the South and your family is looking for you to be in the North and you can't be that leader? If I was going off, my mother would have went off. She never knew that there was a disarray. She never knew the conversations I was having in that hotel room. She never knew the conversations I was having at the front desk. She never knew that I was in the aisle praying from the east, the west, the north. She never knew that. To her, it's just like, oh my God, this is a seamless trip. It's like, Kim, when are we going on the next trip? She was so happy. She never knew the background of what was going on. She never knew that. A queen never breaks her character in public. You do that shit behind scenes. You don't do that in public. Number 2, the queen archetype, the benevolent queen is sovereign. She's a leader. Yet you may think she's masculine. Well, as sometimes you have to pull out your damn masculine energy. For the most part, she's feminine. You have to take on those leadership roles sometimes to get the work done. But for the most part, she's feminine. It's because she's aligned with herself. I needed to get the job done. I needed to get from A to B to Z. I needed to get out of Las Vegas and I need to get back home. And how am I going to be able to do that? I had to be sovereign. 3, the benevolent queen using her authority to protect those in her court. I knew that my mom had the good time and I didn't want to go off. I just want to be bent. I didn't want to go south, but I needed to keep my composure so that she could continue to have the good time that she wanted, because this was Christmas and this was my trip to her. And she did just that. A benevolent queen knows how to transform. And when there's a threat against her kingdom, she rises up. Yeah, it was a threat, and I showed you how to do that. When I was in the department store, my sexiness was threatened. I didn't want to be going on a date looking like I had rat fur. That's just a friendly example. But my point is, I got to keep my image. You know, despite her initial attempts, the desire to work within the existing system, a queen must eventually realize that she has to protect those people around her. I have my notes so I don't forget. So when we talk about queendomness, when we talk about a queen in her archetype, the benevolent queen is what I'm talking about, is that we protect ourselves against invaders. And so when I saw that, wait, no, at the airport, no, this ain't gonna go down again. This is not going down. Energetically, I needed to get into the spirit realm. And I knew immediately I had to pull the faith card. I had to go into my prayer and supplications. This is why we do it. God will give you a certain time to stand up. That was my time to stand up. What you gonna do? Sit on down? It's like, oh no, I don't think so. Not on my watch. Let me get in this out. We're gonna start praying. Where's your faith warriors? Where are your faith walkers? Where are you? Why have you been in Sunday school all this time for 55 years, 60 years? Because God gonna give you an example. You're gonna rise up. You're gonna need to pray against those things. Yes, I did. And it worked. Because we got out of that Las Vegas airport. We got back to San Francisco International. A queen is a protector. She's also a leader, but she knows how to work within her feminine power and not to go beyond the king. Oh, a queen symbolic is protecting her queendom, her kids, her family, her leadership, her sovereignty, her name, who she is. A queen lives up to truth. A queen baseline, hey, in relation to the outside world, what do I need to make things happen? And she's conscious and she's aware and she knows how to keep her character in check to get what she needs. Oh my God. She surrounds herself with the things that's going to empower herself, right? She cultivates loyalty. And I think Southwest, we pretty much loyal because I got them points at the end. And also that attendant was able to get me out where I needed to get back home. Why? Because when we went high, I kept myself low. And he said to me, he said, hey, I got a route for you. Sometimes you might have to take a different route. And it might be of an inconvenience. I said, you know what? I have to think real fast. Sometimes a queen got to think very fast on her feet. You know what? I'll take the chance to go out of San Francisco because I can always Uber back from San Francisco to Oakland, or better met, I always got a friend or two. So I got a friend or two that could come and pick me up and take me back to Oakland, which I did do that. And I love them so much for doing that. Thank you so much, my love, for being there, for protecting and for picking up me and my mother. I love you. You know exactly who you are. You know, a queen doesn't people please, but you get the damn job done. You get the damn job done. You don't kiss ass, but you don't people please, but you know how to pull the right strings and you pull them honestly, right? And you take self-responsibility. That's what you do. So let me tell you about one last thing. We're gonna drop this Kim gem on you. You take responsibility. So I'm there at the front desk, right, with Lisa, the accountant, over there at the JW Marriott. But then I'm also texting my clients to say there's a catastrophe, there's a chaos, it's beyond my control. I might not be able to get out. So therefore, I might have to cancel my appointment. I need to have you on watch. So if I can't meet with you tomorrow at 11 o'clock, or the one that's at 2, or the one that's at 4, or the one that's at 5, I'm giving you notice. Just like my fitness trainer, I'm giving you notice. I'm texting you right now. I'm taking responsibility because it's beyond my control. I might not be able to get out tonight to service you tomorrow in my business, and I need to work. So you take responsibility. So I'm sending notice to my clients to let you know I'm putting you on watch. But luckily, God had a ram in the thicket somewhere, and he got us. So I'm so excited. I hope you guys enjoy that. So that was 30 minutes. I know I was supposed to get out in 26. So I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I hope you guys enjoyed this. A queen never breaks her composure, her character in public, even on flight cancellations. You all, I am Kim Evans. Thank you so much for watching. Please continue to listen to the podcast. This is the 7 podcast series. Real quickly, I have more. We're going to talk about beauty, luxury, and mindset, optimal health, because it's not an option, especially for the Renaissance Queen. We already did the flight disruptions. I have another one that's called Momentum Vision 2023. I have another one for my bosses. It's called My Lady Queens. It's called Let Sexy Paydays for the Lady Entrepreneur, and how to become magnetic. But more importantly than that, you can get all 7 podcast series. You can click the link below, give us your email, and then you can have them at your fingertips. Lastly, I'm doing my live event. It's going to be in Lafayette, California. This one is for the Lady Boss Renaissance Queen who's trying to move the needle forward in her business. You all come on out. I'd love to meet with you. It's going to be a live in-person event. It's going to be January the 21st in Lafayette at the Lafayette Conference Center. The link below here. Sign up. It's a business training from 9:30 until 2 o'clock. All right, you all, thank you so much for listening. It has been a pleasure. And may you be blessed in 2023. And we're calling in from the north and from the west and from the south and from the east, and everything that I have said today. If you leave with just one nugget and allow it to permeate and be transformed in your life, and may you be blessed, I like to see you at the top. Thank you so much. And God, we just thank you for just being omnipotent, and you're powerful. And God, dazzle us, Lord, dazzle us in 2023. And may you all be blessed and have a magnificent new year. God bless you all. This is Kim Evans, and bye for now.